If you wanna view a new 4K, simply stick around and listen to my review. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel for my review of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory on 4K. That is right, guys. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory has finally arrived in stunning 4K Ultra HD with HDR, and I'm here today to talk about it with you guys. But before I do that, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, please do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button for more great content. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel, mostly centered around the world of physical media, new Blu-ray and 4K reviews. I do a physical media update report every single Monday, letting you all know all the latest rumors and announcements in the world of physical media. I do weekly Blu-ray hunts where I go into the stores and show you all the new releases every single Tuesday. I do additional Dollar General vlogs, thrifting vlogs, Goodwill hunts, just all kinds of physical media content coming at you every day. Also, be sure to like this video, guys. It really helps this video out, helps out the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. And also comment down below, guys, your experience with Willy Wonka. Do you love the film? Is it one of your all-time favorites? Did you pick up the 4K? What do you think of it? Are you gonna pick up the 4K based on my recommendation? I will be having the link for purchase in the description below if you do decide to pick it up based on my recommendation. So let's get into this movie, guys. A Warner Brothers release, like I said, put out by Warner Brothers, and they've been doing tons of great work in 4K over the last couple of years. Like, you've got Wizard of Oz, Blade Runner 2049, The Shining, like so many fantastic 4K releases that's been put out by Warner Brothers. And we're going to get into the quality of this one in a second, but before we do that, I like to talk about the movie. This is a story by Roald Dahl. This is one of his novels, which, interesting enough, like, I grew up not really knowing that. I knew other Roald Dahl novels like James and the Giant Peach. I remember reading those as a kid. Matilda. I didn't know that that Roald Dahl wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. For some reason, I never read that as a kid, so that never really was something that I knew until, like, I would say within the last 10 years or so. The movie stars Gene Wilder, Jack Albertson, and Peter Ostrom, of course, playing Charlie, the Charlie character. But this is just a classic from my childhood. And again, like Back to the Future, this is going to be kind of difficult for me to review. This is a movie that's been with me like my entire life. I probably watched this movie for the first time when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I've loved this movie my entire life. I watched it recently, like even last year. I think I watched it on Netflix or one of the streaming services with my kids for the first time. Really enjoyed it. This movie holds up in every single aspect. You know, there's things about it now that I enjoy more, I think, as an adult, like Gene Wilder's more sarcastic, smart-ass attitude in this movie. I just think it's hilarious, and he's just awesome in the film. But yeah, like I said, a classic from my childhood. I love the story. It completely holds up. It's a story of the poor kid in poverty, kind of rising up and fulfilling his destiny and getting everything that he ever wanted. It's a very sweet story, and it has a really nice conclusion to it with a good message, I think, on just how you should behave, not just as a child, but as an adult as well. What I like about this movie is it doesn't really start off as a full-on adventure movie. It starts off more like a documentary, and I think that's more like Stewart's background and Mel Stewart's background in documentary filmmaking. Like, he's made a ton of documentaries, like before he made this and after. That's primarily what he's known for. He made a couple of other films, but I'd say like this is definitely like his most notable film. You're getting like the interviews with all the kids, and then you know, you're getting the broadcast TVs, and you're getting like all the people in like their houses, just random people. The woman, I think, is really funny, has her husband kidnapped, is like, they want your Wonka bar. She's like, how long will they give me to think it over? Just that kind of stuff, just kind of running through all the beginning of this film. And then you get a little bit of story with Charlie and his family and the background of that. But besides that, it's mostly just kind of shot and filmed like a documentary, just kind of showing the origins of all of these other kids that will come to meet and kind of bring them all together in the Chocolate Factory later on in the film. So I think that's a really interesting way to start off this movie, and I think it's why, one of the reasons why it stands out and it's so unique and it's kind of stood the test of time. And then of course you get into the Chocolate Factory later on, and it becomes more like the more traditional adventure movie with a little bit darker tones than the normal children's adventure film. Almost like a slasher in nature, because of the way that the kids are all getting like picked off one by one. And don't don't get me wrong, I love this entire film from beginning to end, but it does kick into another gear when Gene Wilder is introduced into the film. And you don't get him for the first 40 minutes. So Gene Wilder's really only in this movie for an hour, but he shines so incredibly bright in that hour that it's all you remember, and you cannot get it out of your head. Like, his performance in this movie, easily maybe one of my top 10 performances of all time, like in any movie. He's so great in this film. And as I get older, like I said, I notice more of the like smart ass, sarcastic qualities of his character, and I just think he's hilarious. Like, I'm laughing my ass off throughout watching this whole film. There's also just a genuine sweetness to his character and a real charm and charisma. You know, he's singing, he's dancing, he's guiding these children through the chocolate factory. He's introducing us to a world of wonder and pure imagination. And he's also kind of taking us on a nightmarish ride as well when we get into that boat scene, that really creepy boat scene that always struck me when I was a kid watching it. I was like, this is kind of creepy. This is dark. I don't know if I like this or not. And then of course they resume back to the regular chocolate factory after that, and then the regular weirdness and quirkiness of the film. Also love all the kids in this as well. You know, they're all flawed kids. They're all those it's kind of like a hyperized, elevated version of like most kids and like their selfish behaviors and attitudes, and it's kind of just cranked up to 11 with these kids and their performance. But I love them all. I think they're all great. I love all the parents in this movie. Like, everybody in this movie is absolutely fantastic. I think the only downside, the only part of this movie I don't love, and it's not going to knock away from my score or nothing, but I've never really liked like the musical number with the mom, as like Charlie's walking around. Good luck, Charlie. Like, that whole thing. Like, I don't know. I just never really liked that scene before. I get its significance and what it's like setting up for the rest of the movie. I just never really liked that scene. But yeah, in addition to that, like, this movie is kind of like a full-on, and not really a full-on musical, but kind of like a musical. And I do enjoy that aspect of it. I love the movie. The score is absolutely fantastic. All the music in this movie is great. Just when he walks in to the chocolate factory for the first time and you're getting to view it all, and they start singing and walking down the steps, it's such an iconic moment. And yeah, I absolutely love this movie, because I cannot give this movie anything other than a 5 out of 5. It's easily one of my top 20 movies of all time. Maybe like top 25. I'm not exactly sure where it ranks, but easily one of my top 25 movies of all time. Absolutely love this film. Let's go ahead and get into the visuals, guys. So this movie is a 4K UHD with HDR, so you get the richness and the overall quality and vibrancy of these colors. Like, when they walk into the chocolate factory, it looks fantastic. Like, there's just all the colors. I would say before that, it still looks good. There's definitely parts, like in the beginning is what struck me the most, just with the mixing of the chocolate. I'm like, oh, this is gonna look freaking incredible. And then when they're unwrapping the packaging, just the wrappers on the chocolate and stuff like that, just all that, the WONKA symbol and logo, all of that looks fantastic. The thing that struck me the most in this movie, though, as far as just overall quality of the transfer, is that creepy boat scene. Like, it looked fantastic. I posted that on my Instagram because I was like, I never knew I needed this scene to look so good other than right now. Because I remember when I was a kid, it looked really like dark and dingy and very creepy. It's still creepy now, but because it's so bright and colorful, it doesn't feel as weird and disturbing as it did when I was a child, if that makes any sense. But that scene absolutely looks fantastic, even when they're doing the close-ups on Gene Wilder's face. I'll get into the facial detail here in a second, but I think that's probably like the best facial detail of the entire film is in that scene. Transfer itself, guys, overall, it's pretty great. I gotta be honest though, I am a little bit disappointed in just some of the blurriness and some of the out of focus shots. Like I said, when they walk into the chocolate factory, it looks great. The colors look fantastic, but you do see some blurriness. It does feel out of focus in some shots when they do pan out and they show the entire chocolate factory. I get that they were going for, I feel like it's intentional, they were going for a more authentic, classic look of this film, but I wanted it more sharp. I wanted more clarity in this transfer, and I don't feel like I got it. But again, I think a lot of people are going to be happy with the transfer and what they did with it, but just me personally, I wanted it to be a little clearer, sharper in its picture quality than it actually was. Like I said, the lack of just strong facial detail is what I was ultimately really disappointed in, especially coming off like Indiana Jones, where you kind of see the hair on his face. You can see the pores, and Lord of the Rings. I just watched that as well, and that's a newer movie. So I'll use Indiana Jones as an example. Even Django from Arrow Video, which I'll talk up all year long. It's a great transfer, which is an older film than Willy Wonka, but you can see the pores in their faces, and the facial detail just looks so fantastic. You don't really get that here. It still looks really good. It's just you don't get that level of detail in the faces on this one that you do in some of the other 4Ks that I've seen this year. And some of the visuals, guys, in the Chocolate Factory are truly stunning. So let's get into something that may spark a little bit of controversy. I don't think it will, but it may be something that most people don't even notice. But it's something that I had to look up to even know about. I wouldn't have known about it any other way, because I don't know if I've ever seen this movie on Blu-ray. Again, a lot of these 4Ks that they're bringing out, I haven't watched since the DVD era. So I don't know if I've seen Willy Wonka on Blu-ray before. I've watched it on streaming. I used to watch it on DVD. Of course, I had it on VHS when I was a kid. So this is automatically a huge upgrade for me, just in terms of quality right here. But apparently on the Blu-ray, the aspect ratio was 178:1, which was different than the theatrical release of the film. So they bring it back more to that traditional aspect ratio of 185:1 in this one, which kind of cuts off the left side and the bottom a little bit. So you do get a little bit more of a centralized, focused viewpoint of this film, which I think that most people will appreciate, but you're losing some of that picture that you had in that previous Blu-ray release, which could put some people off. Another thing that might disappoint some people here, guys, is that there is no Dolby Atmos track in this, and I know that that's a deal breaker for a lot of people. It does have a 5.1 DTS Dolby audio mix, which, you know, it's probably just fine. Again, I'm watching this on a soundbar, so I can't really speak to the sound quality in depth like other people can. But I know in the past I've had comments and stuff like that that say if it doesn't have any Atmos, then it's not worth upgrading, which I completely understand. If you put a lot of money into your Atmos setup, that you would want that with these releases. But yes, I definitely worth noting that this does not have a Dolby Atmos track. Again, I thought it sounded great, especially when they walk in, you hear the waterfalls. Like, I've never heard the waterfalls like that before in Willy Wonka, the chocolate falls. Of course, the music sounds great. It all sounded great to me, but again, I don't have all that set up, so it's not something that's really necessary for my viewing enjoyment with these 4Ks. Let's go ahead and get into the packaging, guys. This slipcover is absolutely beautiful. It might be the most beautiful slipcover that has come out all year on these 4K re-releases. So I'm going to be kind of cutting to an unboxing of this, but yeah, just gorgeous slipcover. The only thing I was a little disappointed in with this one, and you don't really get this a lot with 4Ks anyway, but sometimes you do, but this didn't have any disc art. Again, I have to go look at my older like Warner Brothers releases. I don't think Warner Brothers does disc art a lot in general anyway, but I was hoping for some disc art, and they're purple disc, which is a nice touch over like just the standard black disc. It's all the same special features from the previous 2009 Blu-ray disc. There's nothing new that's added here, and all the special features, none of them are on the 4K disc themselves. They're all on the Blu-ray. So nothing's on the 4K except for the commentary. So again, I would have liked something, just updated interviews. I don't care from who. I know Gene Wilder, rest in peace, is no longer with us, so we couldn't have had him. But yeah, just something from somebody. Special features, just a retrospective people talk. I don't care if it's like 5 to 10 minutes. Just give me something new with these new 4K releases. I get that the selling point is within the 4K, but I just want something new with these new releases. Is that too much to ask? Maybe it is. But at the end of the day, guys, this is $25 right now, I think, on Amazon and in Best Buy and most stores. So I can't... This is very hard to grade. Again, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. So I'd say if you love this movie and you can't live without it and you're really interested, it's definitely the best this movie has ever looked before. But for the fact that it doesn't have special features and that I wouldn't give it like a full-on A+ for picture quality, I don't know if I can recommend this for the $25 price point. I might have to put this as a wait for the sale. So if it gets down to like 20, I think it's worth it, because a lot of these catalog titles have been, they've been like $20, $22. This one's 25. So again, I think it's a little too high. So I might go ahead for this one, guys. It may be controversial, but I might say go ahead and wait for the sale on this one because chances are, if you're a huge fan of this movie, you've seen it like 100 times. So unless you just really want to watch it, and again, the lack of Dolby Atmos as well, that's another kind of mark against it. So at the end of the day, I'll say wait for the sale. Don't pay $25 for it. Wait till it gets down to 20, and I'd say it'd be more worth it. That is my review of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings on the 4K and the movie itself. So like I said, guys, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to like this video, guys. Comment down below your thoughts on this film and the 4K if you picked it up. Turn on those bell notifications for all of my future videos, and we'll see you next time.